Yo, this is the Scarcity Studios YouTube channel. Please don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe. And our sponsors at Alpha Claims and Hire Birmingham, the leading and best accident management company. Get a replacement car anywhere in 1 hour. SOLO45, the grime artist famous for songs like feedemtothelions, and has performed alongside some of the biggest rappers in the game like Stormzy, Wiley and more. He is featured on Man Better Know, which is one of Boy Better Know's YouTube channels, with the song Arrogant and Wiley, and he also did a remix of his hit Feedemtothelions featuring Stormzy, Fecky, Wiley and Lethal Bizzle. His case was meant to have been heard last year at some point. I read an article where it said that he should have been stood trial, and it was meant to be a 5-week trial with several witnesses, but this didn't happen and nobody heard anything of it since. Because the only reason I'm speaking about this, which I will speak very lightly about, is because the trial's going on. I don't usually cover stories where the trial's still ongoing, but because of the weirdness of the situation and how much information they've put out there, how many people are talking about it and how many newspapers have been able to broadcast the information, it doesn't really affect anything to just say what they're saying has happened with zero speculation. And I'd ask people to not speculate in the comments. It says in the Metro newspaper that a grime artist imprisoned and repeatedly raped, allegedly, the 4 young women, a jury has been told. Anokye, 32 years old, who performs under the stage name SOLO45, denies 31 charges against him at Bristol Crown Court. The charges are relating to 4 complainants, includes 22 counts of rape, 5 counts of false imprisonment. Andy, also known as Solo, denies 2 charges of assault by penetration and 2 charges of assault occasioning actual bodily harm. Judge William Hart told jurors that Andy was a member of a grime collective called Boy Better Know. The prosecution, Christopher Quinlan QC, said the musician had abused 4 women over a 2-year period, that he imprisoned, assaulted, sexually violated and raped 4 women. He filmed this using his mobile phone, and a great deal of what he did. You will hear from each of them during the course of this trial. Each suffered in similar ways at different times in the defendant's hands. The prosecution said that one of the women reported the abuse to her friends and then to the police. Andy was arrested and his mobile phone and laptop were seized by officers who contacted 3 other women. What they disclosed to police is reflected by the 31 charges. We allege that these charges reflect his conduct and his treatment of these 4 young women. He physically assaulted and falsely imprisoned them, held them against their will, and he raped each of them repeatedly. He's a violent and controlling narcissist and bully. He's a sadist who derives satisfaction and sexual pleasure from inflicting pain and suffering on his victims. So as you can see, these charges are very, very serious, and the prosecution is not holding back at all. SOLO45 is going not guilty. He says any sexual activity with the girls was consensual. The jury heard that Andy is a grime artist. They described the genre as dance music influenced by garage music. They can have that opinion if they wish to. He told the jury artists of that genre include Skepta and Stormzy. Neither of them have anything to do with the case. You may hear reference to either or both of them during the evidence. Prosecution went on to say Andy Anokye became known to each of the complainants through their knowledge and taste of grime music, but it's specified in an article over a year ago now that he met them at events that Skepta was hosting. His music, the lifestyle and perceived glamour associated with it attracted people to him, the court heard. The jury of 5 men and 7 women have been told they will view some of the recordings made by SOLO45. You may find it both unpleasant and upsetting. It is important evidence. They then allege that SOLO45 was turned on by his power over the victims.
2009 now. I went away 19, but I'm 22 now, you see what I'm saying? So, big boy now. So, yeah.
So you're back in the game, yeah?
Back in the game. We went in the studio the other day. Me, Skepta and Frisco, we did a tune called Solo's Back. I got another one coming out soon, Arm Response, but it's going to be a massive, massive video for something else anyway, so.
They say the musician waterboarded one woman, leaving her petrified, and claimed that he hacked her phone as well. If you don't know what waterboarding is, it's a form of torture they use in Iraq. It's been used in Iraq where they interrogate terrorists. It's not legal, it breaches human rights, but they put like a cloth over someone's face and pour water over them so it simulates simulates drowning. SOLO45 told the women, allegedly, to put their hands in a sink full of water, and then he brought over a toaster and plugged it into a socket. The effect, if carried out, was to electrocute her. She was pulling away and crying, and she said that it turned him on. Police examining SOLO45's devices after his arrest discovered he had searches for dacrophilia, which is the sexual arousal from another person's fear. On one occasion, it is alleged he drove a woman to a secluded area, ordered her to remove all her clothing so that no one could identify her, and he's said to have told the woman she would be shot, and the incident ended after she had a panic attack. The prosecution then said at the end he poured bleach in her mouth, he'd threatened to brand her with a hot iron, and he made her call him by the name of another grime performer called Skepta. As it stands right there, what do you say to that? There's a lot of evidence. They've got a hell of a lot of evidence, and to be fair, in situations like this, I encourage them to make that evidence public, because people will have a perception. Sadly, some people will be like, oh, there was fans of the musicians, there's this whole trying to get money out of musicians nowadays, trying to get fame, etc. So the need, in cases like this, the need to be very open, because it's a lot of charges, and it's on a big person associated to a big musical group. As they said, no other member of BBK is involved in this. To my knowledge, obviously, Skepta being a father, it would be unheard of, and also quite disturbing and upsetting. As JME said, a long time ago actually, this was probably before 2018, because this case has been going on for quite a long time, and people was getting really angry that he wasn't speaking out. Like, nobody was saying anything in the grime scene, everyone was pretending almost like it didn't happen, to the point that JME actually went online and started to tweet about the situation, and his tweet actually said, I didn't want to speak on the case until it was over and the verdict was reached, as I have no idea what the intricacies are and who the victims are. And this was on October the 18th in 2017. And then he went on to say, but this is mad, 29 charges, it's now 32 or 31. He then corrects himself and says it's 4 people, 21 counts, it's crazy, early to pass judgment yet, but I just hope it's not true. Everyone saying people are silent, it's because they are waiting for the verdict before passing judgment. The charges are crazy. There's been people faced with rape, assault, GBH in the past, and then being found innocent, he then said in the same series of tweets. But you have to admit, the charges are totally shocking. SOLO45 was meant to stand trial on the 16th of April 2018, so I don't know what happened in regard to them putting the trial back. I was literally looking for this the other week. I thought that trial was done by now. I thought we'd be able to find out what the ins and outs were, but it seems something went on as to postpone that trial, and now they're only just bringing it to court now. So I really want to hear what people have to say on this, but I really appreciate it if you didn't try to speculate too much, and also just try and be constructive in your feedback as much as possible. So please don't forget to follow us online at Scarcity Studios, and also visit the website at scarcitystudios.co.uk. Thank you for joining me. Peace.